There is something going on.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely something going on.
Right.
You know, and it affects my voice.
Yeah.
In ways that, like, you get all these little annoyances.
Yeah.
That's fine. I got stuff that I notice within me that I don't talk about.
Okay.
That
I believe you.
That I feel the differences in my range.
Yeah.
My higher. I have no more higher register. It's gone. I used to have it.
Right.
And my lower register, I need to maintain for this.
Yeah.
And it is not as easy to do as it used to be.
Right.
It used to be way easier. And that's with old people too. That's
the problem. If you tell a doctor that, well, you know.
I know. Yeah. Nope. You're supposed to start sounding like this. No, I'm not supposed to start sounding like that.
Yeah.
I have a wonderful, beautiful voice.
What? You're supposed to turn into Jerry Lewis? Okay.
La, la, la.
Jerry Lewis turned into a very bitter old man, by the way. And nobody was sad when he died.
I know, that's too bad. He was really an entertaining guy, and he was,
Yeah, but he did that last interview where he was so mean to the guy.
Yeah.
Was it a guy or a woman?
It was a guy.
It was a guy.
Yeah.
Now, it seemed like he didn't want him in his house.
He didn't want to do the interview. There was a whole story about it.
Yeah.
Like, there was a lot of backstory to it.
But he was just answering like, no.
Yes. Why?
Yes. Yeah, it was like, do you miss your partner? Yes. You know, it was just like, he just seemed like a very bitter, angry old man.
Yeah.
Sad old man.
That's too bad.
Yeah, it is too bad.
That's too bad. He missed Dean, I guess.
Yeah, it seemed like he missed Dean and he's angry about it.
It's terrible.
So,
anyway, these show business people, and we get too involved in worrying about them, too. It's like,
yeah, we do.
You know what it really comes down to? Who the hell cares about Jerry Lewis?
Right.
He's dead. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
right.
Okay, so it is.
Although he was funny, he was a funny guy. He was a very funny. He was an entertaining guy. But entertainment, I mean, what's the value of that, really?
So
we give entertainment more value. Entertainment is good, but we give it more value than it really deserves.
So we are officially in daylight savings time.
We are.
We're here. So we are recording an hour later than usual as a buffer to adjust. Actually, relative to the sun, it's the exact same time we usually record. But relative to the clock, it's an hour later, right?
I'm confused, sorry.
We recorded an hour later than usual.
That's right.
According to the clock.
Right.
Which means we're recording the same time relative to the sun.
Okay.
Get it?
Okay.
The sun is the same place in the sky that it normally is when we record.
Okay.
Okay.
It shouldn't be.
Do you want to keep daylight savings time?
Yeah, I'm surprised. I put it like a Facebook post out or tweet.
Yeah.
And about daylight savings time. So let's change it. Let's enjoy it.
Make it permanent.
And let's make it permanent.
Yeah.
I was surprised that, first of all, I was surprised that it was a news story. I didn't know. I then put on the news and everybody's talking about it. Even Trump's talking about it. You know, I guess they're asking him about it. But I didn't know that it was a big news story. And people are responding to me. It's like, no, keep
standard time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought that
everybody liked daylight savings
because
time
it's
and wants
so
to keep
obviously so much better.
There are a few things about this. There's this, Trump said that he was going to end daylight savings time, and people interpreted this different ways. Some people said it means he's going to make it permanent. Yeah. Other people said it means he's going to make standard time permanent. And most people, or a lot of people, enough people to matter, don't know which is which.
Can I just
And that's the biggest problem with the whole thing. People don't know which is which.
When he said that, if he said that was a misnomer, because it seemed to me it was, because anyone with any common sense, and Trump has a lot of common sense, would know we should have daylight savings time as our permanent time.
Right.
That should be the new standard time.
Yeah, because you would think everybody wants a little bit more light later.
Right.
Nobody likes the 4 p.m. sunsets.
I don't know why people would want it any other way.
Okay. People claim it's because the sun is going to rise too late in the day in the winter. Now, we're in Massachusetts, and the latest sunrise we have is like just after 7 o'clock in the morning. So for us in the winter, that's like early January. For us, that'd be like 8 a.m. if we kept permanent daylight savings time.
Okay.
Which is like not that bad, I guess.
No, it's not that
If you
bad.
get up at like 6, you probably don't like it though. But I think in other places, like places in Ohio and stuff, like, because we stagger, we have like dividers where the clock jumps every few states when you travel west, right?
Sure.
So not everybody's on the exact same time relative to the sun. It's like 8 o'clock looks later for some people in one state than it does for another. So I think in places like Ohio and other places, the sun wouldn't rise until like almost 9 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
And people are really against that. Everybody says the school children. It's about the school children.
I don't think they care that much about the school children, honestly.
Did you know that, you should remember this, this was tried before in like 1975. Do you remember that? I wasn't alive, were you? You were alive.
Yeah, I was alive.
Yeah. Do you remember it?
No.
Okay.
75.
Nixon signed a bill in 1975 that
I was in high school.
Nixon signed a bill in 1975 that made daylight savings time permanent for 2 years as a trial.
Oh.
And
why don't I remember that?
You don't remember it because it only lasted 10 months and it got repealed.
Oh, okay.
And going in, a majority of people supported it.
Yeah.
And by a few months in, a majority of people wanted it to end.
Really? Why?
Because they say it's because people hated the cold, dark winter mornings so much. It was like, no, we can't take it. We thought we'd like it. It's when you look at it, the way they write about it is as if everybody thought it was a good idea,
right?
And then everybody realized, no, it's just too dark in the morning. We hate it. Let's get rid of it.
I don't care that it's dark in the morning.
I know, and they cite as an example 8 school children that were hit by cars,
right?
After the bill went into law,
yeah,
and in the morning. And they use that as the example. See, it was a bad idea. It's bad for public safety.
The bill killed children.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Nixon killed children.
Of course, my first
Nixon is a child killer.
Yeah, my first question is always for stuff like this. Okay, is that more children than there would have been otherwise?
Yeah, right.
Like, is that an actual increase?
Yeah.
Or because they love to just focus on things that happen anyway.
I'm so glad that you studied statistics.
Well, they love to focus on things that happened. And this isn't even stats. This is just like manipulation of the public, of public opinion.
Right.
They focus on stats. Excuse me. They focus on things that happen anyway. Whenever they want to make a point, they want to change people's opinion about something.
Of course.
So it's like, I don't know, like they'll do the children in cages for Trump with the border. Like, look, it's like, well, Obama did it and you just didn't focus on it. Now you focus on it and you make it, you make your coverage correlate to what you want, to what's going on. So you make people think one way or another about something.
Right. It's very common. They do it all the time.
Yeah. So I don't know if they did that with this or if it was actually a bad idea, but I'm surprised you don't remember it. You did go through a year where you did not have standard time. You had permanent daylight savings.
I don't remember that. I was in high school, 1970. Let's see, 75.
Yeah,
75. I was I was in 12th.
Were you drinking yet?
Probably.
Well, there you go.
Oh yeah, I was.
Well, there you go.
Well, I was just starting. I mean, yeah, but I had times when I was drinking. I was not drinking. Then I was drinking. I was probably not. I'm pretty sure I was not an alcoholic.
Yeah.
You know, but I drank with all my friends and all that kind of stuff. You know. Yeah. Definitely,
so did you see what Trump said about daylight savings?
No. So what did he say?
Okay. Here, I have a clip. We can watch it. This is what he said.
I saw something, but
clocks are going to spring forward on Sunday. When are you going to get rid of daylight savings?
Okay, are you ready? So, this should be the easiest one of all, but it's a 50-50 issue. And if something's a 50-50 issue, it's hard to get excited about it. I assume people would like to have more light later, but some people want to have more light earlier because they don't want to take their kids to school in the dark. And it's a little bit one way, but it's very much a 50-50 issue. And it's something I can do, but a lot of people like it one way, a lot of people like it the other way. It's very even. And usually I find when that's the case, what else do we have to do?
Clocks are going to spring forward on Sunday.
And he's right. Yeah, you would assume that that's the case.
Yeah, you assume it.
Yeah, it's not. It's not only in the summertime, but it's first of all, I think it's healthier because everyone's getting more sunshine and getting more vitamin D.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, in the winter.
And in the winter and the summer. Because
in the summer we have it anyway, but yes.
Well, yeah, for myself, as you know, because we have done it together. I like to go on beach walks. I like to go at night.
Yeah.
I like to go late.
Yeah.
It's getting dark because that's a good time to go, and you get more sun that way. You don't get a whole lot of vitamin D when the sun is that low in the sky, but you do get some.
It's also good for it's good. Your body changes. Your body reacts to it. It's better for going to bed. You get a better night's sleep.
And then in the wintertime, everyone's coming home from work in the dark. I mean, it's literally dark at 4 p.m. here.
Right.
So everyone's working and coming home in the dark and traveling subways and traveling streets, and it's dangerous. What about all the adults that get killed because of daylight savings time? Because of standard time.
I really don't believe the stats about like how many
children
casualties it will prevent versus cause, because you're going to have light in the morning or light in the evening.
Right.
Either way, you're going to have darkness sometime while people are traveling.
Yeah.
But Trump obviously wants daylight saving time permanent. Daylight savings time permanent.
That's
based
what
on what he said.
That's what I thought.
Because he says he would assume people want more sun later.
Right.
That's what he says. That's what he thought.
That's what I thought.
And then, but he says, I guess it's 50-50. And his whole thing is he does not do 50-50 things. The whole campaign that he just ran was on picking up easy wins that Democrats were leaving, like no tax on tips. It's like, well, that sounds good to everybody.
Right.
There's not going to be a giant faction of people who come out and say, no, we need to tax those tips. So he says, all right, we'll just do it. No tax on tips. He just granted he officially recognized some Native Indian tribe in North Carolina, the Lumbee tribe, as he officially recognized them as an official Indian tribe. And it's like, okay, well, why do you do that? Well, it was contentious down there, but he knows most people don't care and they're going to love it. And they're Trump supporters. So he's like, okay, I'm going to officially recognize you.
Yeah.
So he picks up these easy wins. And when he looks at daylight savings, he's like, oh, I thought this was an easy win. Yeah. That's why he was going to do it. He thought this was easy. He thought everybody would love it.
I thought so too.
And when it turns out there's a pretty large group against it,
he's
like, well, why would I touch this?
Yeah. Well, now you have to do the right thing, and you have to have real data, real information, and see what really is what will benefit people the most. Right now, the way he's putting it, it's basically you would have to go by a poll. He's like, it's like a stagnant poll.
Here's the problem with polls: is that people don't know which is which.
Yeah, I know.
So when you poll them, you get results. So
I hear a lot of people. I hear literally people being interviewed on the street saying, "No, we got to get rid of daylight savings time.
Daylight savings time.
And daylight savings time. I want it late now.
Right.
End daylight savings time.
Daylight savings time.
I want the sun to set later.
Yeah, that's what they say.
I'm like,
they say it's
backwards.
It's so dark in the afternoon in the winter. End daylight savings.
I know.
Like, no, it's the opposite.
They're
getting it wrong.
There are a lot of morons on the street.
So check this out. So
yeah,
Gallup just did a poll. This came out a few days ago, and it was the biggest story of one of the biggest stories of the week. And they're saying, oh my God, everybody wants to end daylight savings time. End daylight savings time. So I'm thinking, okay, nobody I've met in real life, maybe two people in my real life that I've ever talked to about this have actually said, yes, I want standard time year round. And they know what it meant. And they said, I want it darker in the evenings and I want it lighter in the mornings. That's my position. Like two people I've ever met. Everybody else has said, no, I want the sun in the afternoon. Right? I mean, that's probably your experience talking to people.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody complains about it.
I know, but I'm sorry. But when I grew up, everyone knew the difference between Eastern Standard Time and daylight savings time. Everyone knew it.
People know what it means, like they know what it happens, but I think they get confused about the wording when you just ask them.
Because
especially,
it's just a word that's thrown around.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, daylight savings time. Oh, daylight savings time.
Right.
So they did this poll, Gallup, and it's like, oh my God, this is the news story, is that people prefer standard time. That's the big news story. There's been a dramatic shift and people love it and they want it. So when we look at this poll, and this gives the change over time, they show, look, let me see if I can zoom in on this a bit.
But how can we trust that they know what they're saying?
Yeah, there we go. Okay. So how can we, how can we trust it? That's exactly right. So what we have here is we have Americans' daylight savings time preferences, and they show the change over time. If we just focus on 2025, we see, wow, 48% say standard time the whole year, including summer. That's what 48% want, standard time the whole year.
Okay.
And only 24% say daylight savings time the whole year, including winter.
Okay.
You think, okay, well then everybody wants standard time. It sounds like it's like most people.
What are the other people?
And then 19% want to switch.
Switch to what?
Switch halfway through the year.
I see. They want to keep the switch. Okay.
Yeah. But when you read the full question wording, which they give you at the bottom, which of the following would you prefer to have? Daylight savings time the whole year, including winter, daylight savings time is part of the year, and standard time part of the year, or standard time the whole year, including summer. So they don't tell you in their wording which is which. They just ask you which you prefer, standard time or daylight savings time.
Right.
So they're not informing people.
Yeah.
So people know which one they prefer in terms of what it does to their day.
What it does, yeah, but they don't know what it's called.
Right. That's what I
You know what this is? This is the education system. It's got to be.
Well, that might be the cause, but what we're looking at here is we're looking at bad wording causing bad results that are going to shift policy.
Right.
That doesn't reflect what people actually think.
That's wrong.
So, okay. And why do I think so strongly that people don't actually know? I'll tell you why. Yeah. So I looked at a YouGov poll, which I have here. This is my own tweet, actually, but let me just open this. And I took a screenshot of the wording that the YouGov poll used. This is from 2023.
What kind of poll is that?
YouGov. It's a polling firm.
Yeah,
You've heard of YouGov?
Sure.
Okay. It's pretty big. They partner with Harvard sometimes.
Right.
Okay. To the best of your knowledge, is the United States currently on daylight saving time or permanent standard time?
Yeah.
Only 56% got it right and said daylight savings time.
Wow. That means half the people don't know.
Right. 26% thought we were on permanent standard time.
Wow.
And then 4%, my clock doesn't change because some states, they're like Arizona, their clock doesn't change.
Yeah, it doesn't change.
Okay. 14% didn't know. We're just admitted, I don't know.
This is amazing.
So only 56% got it right.
So half the people don't even know
if we're permanent standard.
They have no idea. You can't poll them. They're uneducated. Their poll won't count.
Their poll is okay. So then we have, you indicated that you would like to eliminate changing the clock. So this was a subgroup that said they do want to eliminate the clock change. What time would you like to make permanent? So these are out of the people who want to get rid of the clock change. Would they like standard or daylight savings? This is the big question, right?
Right.
Permanent daylight savings time. And then they have in parentheses, later sunrises and sunsets, 50%. Permanent standard time, earlier sunrises and sunsets, 31%. So what that tells us is that when you tell the people answering which is later sunrises and which is earlier sunrises and sunsets,
right?
They favor later sunrises and later which is daylight savings.
That's really what they want.
So when you actually tell them which is which, they answer daylight savings.
Right. So that is the right answer.
Yeah. So that Gallup poll from before,
right,
that does not reflect what the public thinks.
Yeah, because literally everyone I know, always said, "Oh, I wish we didn't have to turn the clocks back. I wish we didn't have to turn the clocks back in the fall."
Right.
Everyone.
Back to standard time.
Yeah. No one I ever met said, "Oh, I can't wait till it gets darker earlier."
Yeah, right.
Nobody ever did.
Finally, we are going back to what is in sync with nature.
Yeah. So when somebody
where noon reflects the zenith of the sun.
I mean,
that's what standard time is, right?
Right.
That's what I see argued on X. I was actually arguing with the guy. He's like, this does not reflect nature. I'm like, okay, well, neither does the fact that we have
no clock is
neither does the fact that we have electricity and light bulbs in our house now until midnight. But
right.
Yeah,
that's right.
On till midnight. But so I listen, if we didn't have electricity, I would get it. It's like you want standard time. You think noon should reflect exactly when the sun is at the zenith, blah, blah, blah. But we use lights now. We stay up. We stay up past dark now.
What it's going to come down to? It's going to come down to a political argument now. It's going to come down whatever Trump wants. Half the country is going to.
He's not touching this. He's not touching it. Yeah. He's not touching because either way. It is split.
Yeah,
and it's enough split that he doesn't want to touch this.
Yeah,
he's like, why? He's like, I'm getting so much done. He's all about approval ratings and where it matters, it's like, I'm going to pick up easy wins for things that don't matter much. This one does not matter that much. It's not an easy win. It's a hard battle to fight. So he's like, why would I do it?
The guy's in the middle of preventing World War III right now.
Yeah.
Why bring this into
right. And this is a contentious topic that doesn't really matter much. Yeah, so he's like, why would I get into it?
Not really. Just leave it going.
He does contentious things.
He'll change it before he gets out of office.
Yeah, maybe. He does contentious things when they matter.
Right.
And he does easy things when they don't matter.
When they don't matter.
That's his strategy. That's how he picks up the approval over the years. So
interesting. Well, I'm glad. I'm looking forward for the first night tonight, it being lighter later.
Yeah, no, I am too.
And it's good till the fall, so I like it.
It is. Yeah. It is. But they do this with the polling all the time. I don't think this maybe this wasn't intentional. It could have been intentional. I mean, if this poll is somehow backed by parent teacher groups and stuff like that, then yeah, the wording is intentionally misleading. But they do that with political polls. Right. They'll do that with, for example, they'll ask you questions that obviously push you in a certain direction.
Yeah.
Like they'll be like, do you think January 6th was an insurrection on the Capitol? Do you think Trump's presidency has led to a rise in xenophobia? And then they'll ask you questions like that, which are technically unbiased, but obviously making you think of these negative things. And then they'll say, like, what is your opinion? Like, do you currently approve of the job President Trump is doing? So if you ask that final question after a bunch of questions that framed everything pretty bleak, you get less people willing to say, yes, I approve. And you get more people hesitant to say, I don't know, or no, I don't really approve.
Right.
So that's how they do the polling.
That's how they do. Well, for this poll, I don't know. We know where you go on the poll. So do you feel like you're lacking sleep this morning?
No, because I went out of my way to make sure I went to bed earlier.
You did.
And we actually adjusted our film schedule this morning.
We did.
To make it work. Just for now, just temporarily to kind of give a buffer. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but for some reason, I slept a little bit later than I normally do.
Okay.
I don't know why.
You probably didn't.
No, I did. I probably didn't.
Right? You did not. You slept.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
You slept an hour later, which is actually not later at all.
I slept an hour later. Yeah, you're right.
It's just the clock jumped forward.
Duh.
Yeah. That's what we've been talking about for the past, half an hour, 20 minutes.
I forgot.
Right.
Yeah. That's funny. I've been making sure that I get enough sleep at night. There are a lot of different reasons for it. A lot of it, it's more than just feeling good, feeling better, but I do feel better, when I get enough sleep. But because I was talking to your mother about this, and I want to make sure she's getting enough sleep, because she's always been like me. We always ran on these short sleep schedules, because we were working, all the time and commuting into Manhattan and all that sort of stuff. So it becomes like a habit. So she kind of habitually doesn't get enough sleep. I'm trying to get her to get more sleep. And one of the things that, I remember I took I don't know if you'll remember, I took a psychology course not that long ago.
Okay.
I took psychology when I was in college, but I took a class in psychology. I think I took 1 semester or 2 semesters. I think it was 1 semester. I think it was 2. No, it was 2 semesters, a couple of years ago. And one of the things, this was a particular, I forget the name of the course, but we really centered on the brain, or as the professor called it, de brain. He used to say de brain.
Okay.
I don't know. He was Italian. He was from Italy. And
I was going to say he's obviously not American.
No, but he called it de brain.
Or if he is American, there's something very wrong with him.
He's from Italy. His name was Mario. I don't remember his last name. His name was Mario, Professor Mario. But anyway, he was a good professor. I liked him. Anyway, one of the things we that I remember learning about at that time was these cells in the brain called glial cells. Have you ever heard of them?
Yeah.
They call them glial cells. And all right. Do you know what the lymphatic system is in the body?
Yeah.
I'm not going to go deep into it.
You mean like lymph nodes all throughout the body?
Well, you have these lymph nodes, and then you have this lymphatic system, which is it's plumbing. It's what it is, and it basically is for it. Your lymph nodes produce white blood cells, and it cleans out your whole system of germs and viruses and white blood cells, and it goes through your whole body and keeps you healthy. Okay. Well, they've discovered this is only a recent discovery. They've recently discovered inside the brain, they've discovered a similar system. It's not a lymphatic system, but they call it a glymphatic system.
Okay.
Nobody has known about this until the last few years.
Glymphatic?
Glymphatic.
So they just added a G?
They made it up.
They took lymphatic and just added a G to the front.
Because because it's comprised of these glial cells.
Okay.
These glial cells create this what would you call it? It's like the internal plumbing.
Okay.
Of the system. And what it does is it pumps through your brain, it pumps through cerebrospinal fluid. Okay? Not whatever the fluid is that goes through I don't even know what goes through your lymphatics. Lymph? I don't know.
Might be.
I guess. It pumps this fluid through your brain and it cleans out debris in your brain. Okay? That could be anything. Could be, I think maybe even heavy metals. I'm not sure. But one of the main things that it clears, but it's mainly, well, I don't know. I'm not sure about that.
I'm just imagining somebody listening to Metallica and then they're, and then, oh, where'd it go? I can't remember.
No.
That's not what you meant.
No, it's not what I meant.
Yeah.
Hey, man, Master.
Wait, what comes to, what? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So it clears out debris. One of the things that it clears out that everybody wants to get cleared out is amyloid beta, right? Which is the plaquing.
That's the plaque. Yeah,
That's the plaque, right? So everybody wants that cleared out.
That's what everybody thinks causes
dementia,
Alzheimer's,
Alzheimer's. Yeah,
based on research that's
old,
not even just old, but also fraudulent.
Oh, well, that's right. It is. Yeah, we should talk about that one day. It is fraudulent.
No,
yeah.
we don't have to do it now.
No, we won't do it now.
Yep.
But apparently, I would imagine that you don't want too much of it there, right?
Probably not.
Yeah. And it's caused by inflammation and it gets there, but it's actually, repairing the structure. So it clears that out. It also clears out other proteins. There's something called tau proteins. A lot of this stuff results in dementia and everything from foggy brain to headaches.
Yeah.
So this stuff clears it out all the time. Problem is, it only happens when you're sleeping.
Really?
Only when you're sleeping.
Okay.
Which is weird, but that's what now, who knows? 5 years from now, we'll find out, well, no, it's happening, also during the daytime, but apparently most of it happens at nighttime. And it also happens best when the temperature in the room is lower than 66 degrees.
Oh, man.
Or 66 or lower.
That's freezing.
Yeah, that's pretty cold.
That's pretty cold.
Well, that's why. So what I've been doing is I've been lowering my temperature.
Yeah.
For the past number of years. But that's why I wanted to know why, because you hear all of these sleep experts and all these, neuroscientists like Huberman.
Huberman. Yeah.
And I don't know, I can't think of the other guys. Matthew Walker?
Yeah. Walker.
Is he a doctor?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't look like a doctor.
No, I know. Well, he looked like...
he used to look like a doctor.
He looked like some sort of weird... I don't know. He wore that vest and had that bowl haircut.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
and now he has long hair.
Yeah.
So now he looks like he's from Lord of the Rings or something. Yeah. No, he's a scientist, I think.
He's a scientist. Okay. So he's, put it this way, he's smart, right?
Yeah.
And he knows his stuff and he's, so what I've been doing is I've been lowering the temperature as part of my sleep habit. And I don't know. I'm hoping that it's okay, but I want your mother to also benefit from that too.
Well, I like sleeping in a colder room.
I do.
But I also use a blanket.
I never used to. I always used to want it like 70. I always wanted like 70 or above 72 degrees, like my whole life.
Yeah.
And now I've lowered it down. I've been doing it this way for a couple of years now. And I don't even notice a difference.
Right.
It feels great.
And by the way, Huberman, I don't know the research,
right?
But I can usually assume he knows the research and knows it well.
Mm-hmm.
He prefers standard time year round.
Oh, really?
That's his preference.
Let's see. I've watched some videos from him. Why would he do that? Why would he try? You mind if I speculate for a second?
No.
Trying to think. Why would he say that? Oh, I know why.
Why?
Because he's got this thing where you need bright daylight early in the morning.
Early in the morning,
right?
Yeah. Right.
Okay, and why is that? Why would you need that?
Well, that's one of those things that affects your circadian rhythm.
Right.
I know, like getting bright daylight in the morning. That's what keeps your rhythm regular.
Right.
So that exercise, food, those things in the morning all do that. So maybe that's the reason.
Right.
I'm not sure, but also he does say, however, that either way, whether we do permanent standard or permanent daylight savings, both are better than a clock switch. He thinks the clock switch itself
messes people
is
up.
what's worst.
Yeah, there are statistics that there are like a lot more accidents and things like that, and people making mistakes and everything from car crashes to plane accidents and everything else immediately following the switch. One of the other thing I wanted to mention to you also was these glial cells.
Okay,
I have to go back to the glial cells for a second.
Fine.
These glial cells. One of the things that happen to you at nighttime, for whatever reason, you might have read about this. I've been reading about this for years. That your brain shrinks. They're saying like 60%, which sounds like
60%.
I read somewhere that your brain shrinks 60%.
I bet you didn't read that somewhere.
I did read it. Okay, I don't.
On Reddit? I mean, who said that?
I don't necessarily believe it. But wait a minute. But then looking into it a little bit further, I found that it is the glial cells that shrink. Now maybe they shrink 60%. That I would believe.
Does it grow back?
I don't think your whole brain is going to like separate from your skull and become this little walnut.
Yeah, it's like a shrunken head of some kind.
Yeah, but I think it was probably mispresented. 60%. These glial cells shrink. At nighttime, and it is tied to circadian rhythm. And that's when it happens during certain hours of the night. And that's why you want to get all of your sleep cycles in. If you don't get all of your sleep cycles in, it doesn't happen as often and you don't get as good of a clean out as you would get normally. So the glial cells actually shrink. That's crazy.
They shrink while they're working?
They shrink to create space so that this cerebral spinal fluid can get through and flow through and flush out all the junk. Isn't that amazing?
So I have to look now.
Okay.
'Cause that's too ridiculous. So if I just look, what do you think? Brain shrinks 60% at night. Let's see if we get anything.
Okay.
Brain cells can shrink approximately 60%, creating more space in between them, allowing the brain's waste removal system called the glymphatic system to efficiently flush out toxins and waste product. Okay, so that is exactly right. It's the glial cells.
The glial cells that shrink. Yeah, I read a stupid article.
Yeah, it's not the brain.
It wasn't on Reddit.
Well, it was probably like the headline to get you to click it.
Yeah,
one
maybe.
Of those things.
Yeah, probably.
It's like brain shrinks 60%.
And I remember saying, how can that come on? That's almost half.
The author should be writing, my brain shrunk 60%.
And it never came back.
Never came back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the idea of, brains shrinking, I remember you telling me about, we've talked about this in the past, about shrinking hippocampus.
Yeah.
And I remember you telling me about this.
Yep.
And
sorry, I had to remember.
Okay. Well, you told me about this.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Ha ha ha.
You'd have to know the hippocampus is the memory center.
You need more sleep.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking about that, and I agree. And the whole philosophy behind that was, first of all, I don't think you want that to happen. And secondly, what could happen if your hippocampus shrinks?
Okay. You want me to explain the hippocampus thing?
Well, because it has to do with, I remember tying it into, and I think we were tying it into doing things that you don't want to do. Do you remember that?
No, that was slightly different.
Okay.
There is a part of the brain that grows when you do things you don't want to do.
Okay.
It's not the hippocampus.
Oh, okay. We were talking about neurogenesis then.
Yes, we're talking about hippocamponeurogenesis.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, not shrinking, but actually expanding and getting bigger.
Yes.
Got it.
Growing, or else it shrinks. Or else it shrinks.
Right.
Because, cells die over time. So hippocampus is it's not a place that necessarily stores memories, I don't think. I'm not a neuroscientist, obviously, but I've read about this. But it processes memories. It kind of it's like the file management system for your memories, one of the places. And you want it to be large so it can do a good job. And how does it get large? Through neurogenesis. And that is genesis meaning, birth, creation of neurons, neurogenesis. That's when your body creates new cells. So hippocamponeurogenesis is very important.
Right.
And you need that happening while you're an adult, especially because you want to maintain the size of your hippocampus throughout your life and as you get into old age.
Oh, so it's to prevent it from shrinking.
You want to prevent it from shrinking.
Right.
You want to keep it growing. Yeah, you're not going to get up like a massive hippocampus, but it'll shrink if it's not replenishing cells as they die. So what happens is when you have a lot of stress in your life and you don't handle that stress properly, when you don't process that stress, when you get very upset, very emotional, angry, fearful, when you have your fear receptors are activated, they get stressed over time. They get used up. You actually begin to leak, your neurons begin to leak molecules. And when that happens, your body responds to that with an autoimmune response. And they send cytokines up there. And what cytokines do is they cause inflammation. Your body basically attacks itself.
Right.
It's like, hey, your neurons are leaking, and you start attacking yourself.
So there comes the dementia.
So, well, not there yet. There's another step in between.
Okay.
So what happens is with inflammation, your body stops generating new neurons.
Right.
That's what happens. When your body stops generating new neurons, you're not replenishing the ones that die, and your hippocampus begins to shrink. When your hippocampus begins to shrink, you're not as adept at processing memories. And this is what makes a certain scientist named Michael Nels, who's German, who has studied, I mean, he has papers on this. He's a legitimate molecular biologist, I believe. This is what has led him to say this causes dementia. Dementia is preventable. It's not from this plaque thing. It's from people essentially not handling life events correctly.
Right.
That's what it is.
So it is stress related.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
it comes back to stress. It comes back to how fearful and emotional you are in response to stress.
Right. Okay. So that goes to what I teach, right?
Yeah.
That goes to dealing with stress properly.
Yes.
Because if you get stressed and don't deal with it properly, then you get the negative effects.
Right.
Right.
So there's an actual biological. It's
But
not
it's
just
not-
spiritual.
it's
There's a
not this-
biological effect from this.
Well, it is spiritual because stress is spiritual.
I said not just spiritual.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay, but yeah, okay. So if you you're not going to not get stress. People who try to remove stress from their lives are going to wither and die.
Right. Well, and you know, his argument, you know, he's a scientist,
Right.
He's a biologist, so he's arguing as preventative measures, like make sure you get enough exercise, have new experiences, make sure you're giving your body enough stimuli to have a reason
Right.
to go through neurogenesis. Make sure you're taking minerals, you're eating right, stuff like that. He likes lithium. I don't know why. I don't know the science behind what lithium does, but he thinks small intakes of lithium help, which sounds dangerous.
Yeah.
But I'm sure in some sort of non-reactive form. I don't know, because lithium is dangerous, right? Probably some ion of lithium. But anyway. But he doesn't concentrate on the spiritual aspect or the emotional aspect of things, which is where the meditation.
Yeah.
comes
Well,
in.
science never does. Science concentrates on the materialistic stuff.
Right.
You know. Yeah. So the thing is that you have to have stress. You have to have stress, and you have to overcome stress. And like even in the smallest ways, it's like, have you ever noticed? You work out, right? You use the gym.
Yeah.
Right. So, and I've noticed this too. It's like when I'm doing, let's say I'm doing squats, right? And I'm doing 3 sets of 12 squats each set, let's just say. And I get that, and I'm doing the squats, and I get down, and I'm up to 10. There's like this temptation to say, well, I'll just do 10 now, and I don't push through to the 12.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I do the thing that I don't want to do. I go to 12. And sometimes I'll say, well, I'll go to 15. you know what I mean? If I don't do it, it's not like, oh, I feel like I failed. There is an absence of accomplishment if you don't do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I see that as a microcosm of many things in life. A lot of things in life. You need mental stimulation. You need stress. You need pressure, so that you can overcome it and not let it get to you. I'm glad you said what you did about it converting it to fear, because fear is resentment, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know what I say about that. Fear is resentment. The reason why fear is resentment is because you're resenting something that hasn't even happened yet.
Right.
Right.
The unknown.
The unknown.
Yeah.
You're judging the future. You're judging someone for what they might say, or for the world for what might happen in it, or whatever. And if you don't overcome that, you have to face that and step back from it and watch it and not let it overwhelm you. And then you escape from it. You're left unscathed. You're left just an observer.
Right.
It doesn't get you.
You are actually more competent in handling what happens too in real time.
You do become stronger.
Oh yeah.
You become stronger.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah. This whole bit about, a sense of accomplishment, that there's a good way to accomplish things and there's a bad way to accomplish things that way within this realm that we're talking about.
Right.
And, there's an ambitious way of doing things, like a lot of sports training is that way. It's like, you know, that's willful. That's willful accomplishment. That's not healthy. Mm-hmm. It's really not. I mean, you can win a football game.
Right.
You know, you can rile up a team doing that.
So how is that different from what I know it is, but how is that different from what you just said about pushing through your last set?
Well, it's different because when you push through, it's not emotional. I don't get emotional over it. I'm not patting myself on the back for it. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm not saying, oh, I'm fantastic. I'm wonderful. I notice that there's a lack of, it's the absence of failure is success. Right?
Okay.
Okay. So
the absence of light is dark.
The absence of success is failure. Oh. So yeah, the absence of light is dark. But no. What I mean is it's not a willful thing. It's a sense of accomplishment that exists because you're not.
I know what you're talking about.
It's not emotional.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about.
I do.
Okay.
And you're also not. You're not getting something emotion. You're not getting something emotional out of it.
Right. You're not deriving something out of it that really you don't deserve.
Yeah.
You're just feeling. You're just not feeling bad about it.
Right.
It's a neutral thing.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And that's progress.
Yeah.
Even though it doesn't feel like it, it's just like, okay, I did the right thing.
Right.
So like, it's, you know, there's a satisfaction to it. There's a satisfaction in knowing that, you know, oh, I've just finished I've just accomplished something. I've just, you know, a work day. At the end of a work day,
sure.
I had a good day today.
Sure.
I had a good day today. Why? Because
I'm the man.
I'm the man.
Yeah.
No, that's you're going to die like that.
Right.
That's
Too
exciting.
much.
That's exciting everything in your body.
I agree.
Yeah. So it's the absence of not, well, you can't feel that way. Everybody feels you know, if you won $1 million in the lottery, you know, you'd be high for days,
yeah,
probably,
sure.
right? You can't help it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I would be. I would not be.
I know, but you're still gonna have a bodily reaction to such an event. I mean, you can't help it.
I think I might smile.
Yeah, sure. Right.
Yeah. But it's not emotional. It's not emotional.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the difference. And so you don't get all of the emotional damage that happens. You don't get the rises in the cortisol, and the adrenals don't go wild, and you don't get.
Well, you do a little bit. I mean, that's going to, like you said, if you won the lottery, you're going to get
yes,
that.
everyone has
right?
everyone has a sympathetic nervous system, of course, and that does. But everyone also has a parasympathetic nervous system that's going to keep that in check, and that's what we have. That homeostasis is what's important. So we get excited, but then we get normalized.
So that all being said, let's talk about something that's not biological at all.
None of that is biological. Well, I guess
I know, but we tied it to biology.
Yeah,
a lot. This one's a little bit different, a little bit weirder.
Okay.
Have you seen these telepathy tapes?
The telepathy tapes.
The telepathy tapes.
I have not.
Okay,
I haven't even heard of them.
Okay, it's a podcast, I think. I haven't watched them myself, but I watched a documentary on it, or not the whole I watched like almost a whole 2-hour thing. I watched at least half of it. Mm-hmm. An interview with the person who did this. She's a documentarian, and by the way, she's making all the rounds on the shows now. They're doing a big PR thing. She's been on a bunch of different shows, but
podcast shows,
podcasts as well as some news shows too. Okay. But basically, what it is a Harvard scientist, a Harvard-educated scientist, let's say, discovered that there seems to be some sort of weird thing that happens that we don't quite understand with nonverbal autistic people, where they get things right and they seem to know things before you tell them. Mm-hmm. And she wanted to study it. And so here's an example of that. And they took video. And
all autistic people? Or just some?
No, but it seems to be many autistic nonverbal people.
Oh, I see.
People who can't really speak. So here's this kid named Akil with his mother. Mm-hmm. Okay. And for some reason, Deepak Chopra is there. Okay, but just ignore him.
Go ahead, hun.
Nah.
Okay, then?
Sure.
So she has numbers on a piece of paper that he hasn't seen. And she knows the numbers.
Mm-hmm. And then? Okay. And then? Go ahead. Corrected.
And he can't even type the keys correctly. He has to correct the keys.
Perfect.
This is
Okay, this is something going to be very easy.
So then they go through it. So then they do another one here, and it's literally just like a random word generated.
Okay.
Akhil, calm down.
So there's a JMRAQ. So that just randomly, they just pull that up on a laptop.
Show them to her.
Sit nicely.
So then they show the mother.
Can I hold this? Sure. Okay, go ahead.
Go for it.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So then he's able to go and get every single letter.
Hit it. Hit it. Okay, then. And. Okay.
So anyway,
Okay. And hit it. Hit it. Hit it. You have it. Yes. That's yes.
so he goes through, he gets the whole thing right.
Yes. That's where that.
And then he just runs off and plays. And okay, so I know everything going through your mind right now.
How do you know?
I get, because I'm the same
This
way.
is the most unamazing thing I've seen so far this year.
Listen, anybody with any intelligence knows, like, okay, this is going to be BS, and there are different ways that it can be.
This is a Ouija board.
Yeah, there are different ways it can be totally manipulated and wrong. But here's the thing: is that
No, I'm not talking about. It's not. They're not doing. It's not trickery. They're not doing tricks.
oh, okay, fine. I'm
Not
talking
magic.
about. I'm addressing the immediate skepticism that most, let's say, secular people would
All right,
have.
so
right
you
away.
say you think you know what I'm thinking about this. So tell me. This,
there are plenty of ways to do this as a magic trick.
Oh,
lots
yeah, sure.
Lots of ways.
of course.
And of course, there's,
Probably not though. They're probably not doing that.
right. And there's the what's his name? The Amazing Randy.
Yeah.
Right. You know him?
Of course.
Right. And he's a magician,
He's dead.
I think. Did he die?
Oh,
He
yeah,
did
he's
die,
dead.
right?
He's-
Yeah, he's been
yeah.
dead a while, right?
Maybe 5
But
years,
anyway,
something like that.
he had a whole thing where it's like, if you can actually prove this is telepathy or
Yeah,
something,
yeah.
I'll give you $1 million.
$1 million, yeah.
Right? He had an award, and nobody could ever prove it. Nobody could ever do it. So anyway, but the idea behind this documentary and how what they're doing here and studying is that there's a bunch of autistic kids who basically can't talk, who seem to have some sort of telepathic powers. And they can get things right. They seem to even, a lot of it's anecdotal. The ones I'm talking about right now are going to be anecdotal. Like, they seem to talk to each other on different floors of the house. They indicate that they're spending time with each other when they're separate. They seem to know their parents' thoughts before they say them, stuff like that. And a lot of it's anecdotal, and you're like, yeah, but you're the mom, and he knows you well, and of course he's going to. But some of it are controlled experiments where it's like random word generator.
Right.
Generate the word. The kid definitely hasn't seen it. The mother or the father has it in front of him, and then the kid's able to like type it out, or they use boards with letters, and he could like point to the letters and get it right. So what do you think about that?
I think they should stop doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that kid, they're going to harm. But they're already harming the kid. The kid is getting that information from somewhere.
Yeah.
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 He's getting that. There is a demon working on him, telling him which one to press. There's affecting his brain impulse. That's why you won't be able to repeat long sentences and stuff like that. Unless actually I think that can develop into that. Okay, but it's not likely.
Right.
But simple. This is a Ouija board. Something is communicating, going A, B,
Yeah.
4. Yeah, that's all it is. It's something from the netherworld is in communication with this kid, trying to prove to the world that that this sort of thing is possible. Yeah.
So you think it's definitely
evil.
supernatural?
Not only is it
And
supernatural, it's evil.
Right.
Yeah, it's totally evil, totally dark.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That guy, Deepak Chopra,
Yeah.
is a dark being. Unquestionably. And him promoting this stuff, he ought to be ashamed of himself. He wouldn't be ashamed of himself because he doesn't know what he's doing.
Even his rhinestone glasses?
Even his rhinestone glasses.
Yeah.
Even his $35 million apartment in New York. Or which I think he sold. But
so what they say is that, like, these kids, they even say that they communicate with each other. They have like a place they go in their mind,
right,
where they talk to each other.
Right.
And different autistic communities or groups around the country seem to all have these like telepathic chat rooms that they say they enter and talk to each other. So there's a lot of weird stuff.
Yeah, this is
going
people
on with this.
doing this to these autistic kids. These autistic kids are not able to organize this.
Yeah.
They don't organize this. People go around and organize this stuff, and they make it happen, and they make it work, and they make it seem real.
Right.
I can't comment directly because I haven't seen it actually happen.
Right.
So, but I know, but like the Amazing Randy, if I actually saw it happen, I'd be able to figure it out. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And just like I figured out this was so obvious to me right away.
So there's a bunch of them doing this, and they got this whole thing going on. But okay, regardless of if it's good and evil, the whole point is, hey, science.
That's what's going on here right now.
Right.
I can't pass commentary on any of the other things that anyone would argue with me over this about, because I haven't seen those actually in operation.
Right. And what I'm saying is, regardless of the good or evil of it, kind of the point is, or my takeaway, aside from that, is, like, hey, science, do you have anything to say about this? Scientific community?
Right.
And they won't address it.
Really?
And not really. There are a few people, they've brought in a few skeptical scientific people, who come in and they measure brain waves, and they're like, yeah, something's happening here.
Yeah.
But it's funny because before all this sort of scientific community developed, for thousands of years, hundreds of years at least, it was sort of well known, like everybody believed in some sort of supernatural, whether it be biblical or spirits or ghosts or whatever. People kind of assumed that everyone thought, yeah, there's stuff that we can't see and don't understand. And only in the past 100, 200 years have we kind of gotten into this place where we assume none of that is real because it hasn't been scientifically proven, because only the scientific method is the only way to ever acknowledge any truth.
Okay.
That's where we are now. So you had people with more common sense 300 years ago.
In their ignorance.
Yeah. Saying, oh yeah, like telepathy's real. I don't touch that stuff.
Yeah, right.
Versus people, well, we have no peer-reviewed studies that show.
Telepathy is not real.
Right, but I mean, okay, I'm using that word.
Okay.
So whatever you call that, they're calling it telepathy.
Okay.
Saying, okay, something real is happening here. Hold on. Something real is happening here. We don't understand it.
Right.
And science can't explain it. Science doesn't like that now.
Right.
They say, no, nothing's happening here. It's not real. You shouldn't believe it. Don't believe your lying eyes.
There is a transmission of energy between human beings. Absolutely, undoubtedly there is.
Come on.
It's
gotta be.
We have gravity, we have magnetism, we have energy fields all around us, and our brains generate energy.
Yeah.
So I can project, but I'm not going to project. It's not powerful enough. It's not strong enough to develop complete thought patterns and sentences and things like that.
Right.
I think occasionally it does seem to actually happen, but we don't know if that's coincidental or not.
Yeah.
Where somebody say, "Oh, I was just thinking about you, and I'm going to call you on the phone."
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That happens all the time, but it also seems very coincidental, and so that's not been proven. But there is you can generate emotion between people. You can feel when someone is full of anger. You can feel when someone is happy.
And you can make them angry too.
And you can make them angry. Well, you can make them feel it.
You can transfer your anger to them, or try to.
Right. And that's what empathy is. Empathy. You don't necessarily, people brag about that, oh, I'm so empathetic.
Yeah.
You don't want to be empathetic.
Right.
You don't want to. You don't want to share. That's like trading psychic spit with someone, and if they're contaminated, now you are. You don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So
I don't want their psychic hepatitis.
Psychic hepatitis? The heck is that?
Isn't that hepatitis B? That's an STD.
I deal with spiritual disease all the time. I've never heard that one. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So take this one with a grain of salt. I don't know. Is there anything better?
But that's interesting. You're saying
after this, I'm going to go look and see if I can find something better than this.
You're saying take it with a grain of salt, not from the skeptic perspective.
Oh no, that kid's really.
You're saying it from the psychic perspective.
Oh yeah,
you're saying this is evil.
This is a metaphysical event that we're watching right here.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Now, what makes it difficult is there are plenty of people.
I don't think I don't think that Deepak Chopra,
Yeah.
I think he believes all of his bullshit. Okay.
Okay.
I don't think that he would actually go out and do a trick like this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Perform like a magic trick.
Well, and he's not a participant. He's just a viewer.
He's a viewer.
He was brought along as a guest.
Okay.
So he's not actually involved in the organization.
Well, he's endorsing by his presence.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But the thing is they have other people doing this too. This isn't just this one kid.
Right.
There's like the whole point is like, yeah, we visit over and over again non-verbal autistic kids, and many of them have this ability somehow.
I can sit here,
Something
I can
similar.
set up a little experiment, and I could sit here and I can invite I can invite presences to come, and
Right.
they will show me how to type a letter. I can do that.
Yeah.
I mean, that can be done. I can't say I can do it because I will do it. I will never do anything like that.
A dark art.
It is a dark art, and you can develop it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can become very skilled at it too.
One of the anecdotes from this documentary was one kid who, and of course this isn't part of the actual scientific rigor in these experiments, because part of the experimentation is you want to follow the scientific method, and you might not be able to explain it, but it's like, yeah, we in a controlled environment we got this result. We can't explain it. So that's what they're trying to do.
Right.
But one of the anecdotes was a kid who had this sort of weird ability, and mommy's friend went to some sort of chi masseuse or something and brought back rocks. And the kid freaked out over the rocks, the crystals. They have these crystals in these rocks.
Sure.
And he freaked out, and he wanted them, and he kept them near his bed and everything. So they were like, "Oh my God!" Like the energy, and he communicated to them that there was good energy in these crystals, and he wanted the good energy.
Yeah.
And some of that is definitely going to be environmental manipulation, like. You hear your mom and her friend talking about this stuff all the time.
Yeah.
If she goes to the masseuse and brings these things home, so you're going to be familiar with it.
Right.
So it gets retold as an anecdote. That's why I'm saying you do need some practical skepticism, some secular skepticism when you say a lot of this is not real.
Right.
A lot of it, because people fake this stuff and they don't even know they're faking it, but it happens.
Mm-hmm.
You say, yeah, he wouldn't have thought of that unless he actually heard you talking about it last week, and that's what. But at the same time, there's something going on.
Yeah, something dark.
Mm-hmm.
There is evil in the world. There is evil out of this world, and sometimes what's out of this world gets into this world, and you see little peaks of it like this that it seems harmless.
Yeah,
but this is being developed in these poor kids.
And you're focusing on the evil involved here.
Yeah.
And while I think that's likely correct,
mm-hmm.
the overall point is there is some sort of energy, there is some sort of thing happening.
Right.
And if that's true, then there's going to be a good side to this revelation too. And maybe it isn't to perform little tricks like that, but being aware that this energy transfer is possible.
It's possible, yeah.
There's got to be a good side to that too.
Okay.
The same way
it's an exposure.
I like to think of it like even this is very
expose, I should say.
Okay. Let's think about fire. Okay. You're a caveman. You just invented fire. Okay. Is fire evil? I think yes. I think it's evil. Why? It hurts, and I burned down my hut because I made it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
No, fire's not evil. And I'm not saying demons aren't evil, but my point is just the fact that this world even exists, this thing, this energy even exists, whatever it is, this ability. It's like, well, you misuse the fire. There's a good way to use fire.
Mm-hmm.
You need to know about fire. You need to know that it exists, and you need to know it's real. And it's not your place to light a house on fire.
Right.
You shouldn't do it. That's wrong. So it's like, yeah, this energy is real. It exists. No, you should not be. You should not be calling upon things to help you see things that you shouldn't see. So my point is the dimension exists. We need to know about it.
Sure.
Another example
when people realize, and most of them will never realize the extent to which they have tapped into that.
Yeah.
They would be shocked.
Right.
To learn it.
Right. And like I said, there's a time where they wouldn't have been shocked. Like there's a time when we just assumed these things happen and they're all around us all the time.
Right.
And we've entered a world where, and you could argue that it's very clever, even diabolical, Diablo, where we aren't allowed to acknowledge it anymore.
We're going to talk about this at length in future podcasts.
But it's seen as it's taboo. It's almost facile. It's like, oh, you're an idiot if you believe in those things. But if it's true and you've been tricked to think you're an idiot if you believe in it,
right?
Well, that's the ultimate trap, right?
Right.
So
yeah.
Isn't that that's what people say? They the best thing the devil could do is convince you he doesn't exist.
That's exactly right.
That's the
if
summary.
I were the devil, I wouldn't want you to know that I was around.
Yeah, right.
I'd want you to think that all this paranormal stuff is all like, your dead grandmother is watching over you and she's talking to you and giving you ideas.
Yeah.
She's coming to you in your sleep.
Right.
Right. Uncle Fred has a message for you, or Mom.
Yeah.
Mom's watching down from me, smiling.
That was one of the other stories. Is one of them said, my autistic kid came up and he said, Auntie says she loves you. And I'm like, how do you know who Auntie is?
God.
One of the, which is classic, like psychic fortune teller stuff.
Oh my
right?
God. Yeah. So that,
what do they call that?
In this stuff?
Yeah, it's in the,
it's in this event?
Not in the experiment itself, but it's one of the anecdotes of one of the parents.
Yeah.
Said,
I mean, come on, right there, totally crazy.
Right.
All right.
Yeah, I was gonna say one more thing, one more example I like to use. I think I've mentioned this one to you before, but okay, again, forget about the dark arts part. Assume that it's just about knowing that a dimension exists and knowing what interaction with it is good as bad, or being blind to it. Compare that to even seeing, even light detection. We have eyeballs; they detect light, right? That's how we see. We are. They used to think there are actual, I think, hieroglyphics that show this. A theory that your eyeballs reach out and touch things, like almost like echolocation, and the signal gets back. That's how we know things are there. Right. Now we know that's not how it works at all.
The light is actually
the light reaches us. We're not reaching out and touching with our eyeballs.
Correct.
Well, that would be quite a nightmarish depiction. But
you just come up with a plot for a science fiction movie or something.
Yeah. No, but actually, what's happening is the light is reaching us.
Yeah.
So but before the eyeball fully developed and we knew that we were seeing things, there were they assume through evolution.
Did you know that the eyeball?
Go ahead.
The eyeball is actually. It seems like it's such an independent organ, but it's actually part of the brain.
Yeah. It's attached to the brain.
Isn't that crazy?
Have you ever seen, it's like a brain with like two little stems and eyeballs on it?
This is like brain. These are brains.
Oh, come on. We got to get
material.
it. We got to get that now. Let's see.
The brain is the eye.
Okay, I might get some really gruesome images here. Brain with eyeball attached. Hopefully. Yeah, there we go. That's a good one. Hi there.
There you go. Hi, Fred.
I see you. Thinking of you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's crazy. Also, did you know infants have the same size eyeballs as adults?
Oh, that I did know.
So have you ever seen an MRI of an infant?
Not lately. No, I haven't seen it.
Yeah. They have giant eyeballs. So anyway, that's pretty much what it looks like. It's like you get giant eyeballs next to there we go. Yeah. So it says the reason why pregnant people get ultrasounds and not MRIs.
That is crazy.
Yeah, is that in an MRI, this is what a fetus looks like. It is basically giant eyeballs.
Oh my God. When we had
an alien.
I tell you, when your mother was pregnant with you, if I saw this in the ultrasound,
yeah,
I would say, I don't believe in abortion.
Oh, come on. No, you would. That's not even a funny joke.
No, not that I would do it. I said, no. Oh my God, no. I said, I don't believe in abortion. Now what are we going to do?
Okay. I'm very happy to be alive right now, and I don't look like that. So please.
Okay. Well, you didn't look like that. You were a cute little fetus.
Yes.
You're fine.
And neither of us believe in a right to abortion, by the way.
No.
But anyway, what I was saying is, so the eyeball, before the eyeball developed, right, assuming evolution is real, which, to a degree, I think is true.
Right.
There was probably some sort of cells that were sensitive to photons.
Right.
Those probably came about through genetic mutation, something like that. And eventually those develop into an eyeball. So the theory goes, over millions of years. So if you had this sense developing, but sight is a sense, it's like one of our five senses. If you had this sense developing that wasn't quite there yet, and not everybody had it, right? Because you're going through your whole species is going through genetic mutations. Some people are getting it, some people aren't. And over time, an eyeball is going to come about and be a necessary part of everybody's development. But so far, you only have some indication. It's like, yeah, I could just tell something tickles when, I feel that heat. I don't know. And I feel something tickle, and so you're beginning to detect light, but you're not there yet.
Okay.
And of course, you're not thinking this because you don't even have a full brain yet. I'm just saying, I'm trying to. I
can't place myself into this creature you're creating for me here. Sorry.
Yeah, it's like a primordial blob.
I just don't do that with my brain.
But okay, what I'm saying is, before you could fully see and be like, that's a chair, or like that's a rock, that's a tree, some sort of organ existed where you just like knew something was there. You didn't quite know how or what. So it's like, I know something's like in front of me right now and I don't know how or what. And that would come across as some sort of,
I see.
Some sort of supernatural thing.
Yeah, right.
Because nobody has an eyeball yet. So nobody even knows what that is.
Okay.
But some people have photon detecting cells.
I was wondering where you're going with this.
Yeah, so some people have some sort of photon detecting cells. They know something's in front of them and they don't know how or what, and they can't quite get a grasp of it. And then when you feel it, see, something was there. I told you something was there. And if those primordial beings, which obviously could run scientific trials, they'd find, yes, these people, these things, have a greater than random chance of knowing whether or not something's in front of them, and we don't know how.
And if they had a less scientific mind and they had YouTube or they had social circles, they'd probably make up a whole bunch of BS about how they were special for this.
A documentary.
Yeah, they'd have a documentary.
Yeah. Okay.
And they'd open up a bunch of eyeball parlors where they can go and show people and charge them money.
But my point is, if you couldn't even detect photons with your eyes, you wouldn't even know to look for them. And if some people could feel them and other people couldn't, because we're just starting to develop eyeballs, you would think some people just have this weird way of kind of knowing things and nobody knows how. I'm just pointing that. I'm just pointing out. It's good. It's kind of cool thing to think about.
You are my son. I love you, and this scenario is so weird to me. But okay.
Well, I think it is weird, but I think it's cool.
Okay.
So anyway, moral of the story: don't mess with dark arts.
That's what I would say.
Right.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. No,
sure.
You shouldn't do that. You don't have to. You don't need to.
Yeah. Okay. Is that it for today?
I think so. I mean, how long have we been going?
I don't know how long we've been going. I think that about wraps it for now.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I had some more stuff to talk about, but we can carry it into the next
It is
podcast.
1:36, and it is actually 12:36, but it is 1:36 because of daylight savings time.
Okay.
And we're going to be used to it by the next time we record.
I would say.
So.
Yeah. I can't wait to experience an hour tonight.
Oh my God. We frequently go for walks on the beach.
Yeah.
Too, and have business conversations. That'll be nice.
I would do it, and
it's going to be too cold.
I think it's going to be too cold. It's now 40 degrees where we are right now.
But I do like the evening walks. They're good. They're good mental stimulation. Think of a lot of ideas. We figured a lot of stuff out on those walks.
Well, we designed the whole C app on the beach.
The whole app, yeah.
Yeah, didn't we?
Yes.
Okay.
Basically. Okay.
That's it for today. I want to go have lunch.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, bye.